Hey, what's going on guys? Ricky Racing here, and last week I did a top 5 video of my favorite race cars in different racing simulators. A lot of you guys said you should really make a top 5 video about your favorite racetracks as well, so yeah, here it is. This top 5 list was a lot easier to make than the top 5 race car list. I had most of these tracks figured out before I even started this video, but placing them was another story though, so yeah, it was kind of hard. But here we go, guys. So in 5th place we have the Mountain, or Bathurst, or Mount Panorama. This was one of those tracks that I had a really hard time placing on this list. I know it would be a top 5 track, I just didn't know where to place it, and finally ended up in 5th here. It's a really special track, and it's a track that I shouldn't say it makes me nervous, but every time I see it on the calendar for a race, I know I need to practice. I need to practice to be quick. It's just a scary track. So we're going to do one lap here around Bathurst in the Lotus 98T. So crossing the start-finish line here for the first time, coming up to Hell Corner, a hard left-hander. Really important getting a good exit here along the pretty long straights that's coming up. This is one of 2 main overtaking spots around Bathurst. It's this and the Conrad Straight, which is at the end of the lap. Here's Griffin's Bend. As we start climbing the mountain here for the first time, really important staying as close to the walls as you possibly can here. This won't be a world record lap I'm doing here, but this is a track where you always want to stay as close as possible to the walls, but you don't want to touch them. Here in Project Cars 2 you can't actually touch the walls without getting any damage, but in iRacing it can mean the end of the race for you, so yeah. As we're going down the mountain here again, important braking zone here, pretty hard getting the braking balance right for this section here. Going down the Dippa. Australian isn't that good. But whatever, coming down to Forest Elbow here. This is another really important exit. Long straight coming up here. This is the other good overtaking opportunity you will get here around Bathurst. It's going down here. I'd say this is probably better than Mountain Straight, which was the first long straight I showed you at the beginning of the lap. But coming through here, you would then, if you are close enough, you can try and outbrake them here going into the chase here. Hard on the power here, real easy losing traction as you're turning while you're on throttle. Coming up to the last turn here, Murray's Corner, before we cross the start-finish line for a lap around Bathurst. So in 4th place we have another really special track, a really bumpy track. It's Sebring, and I said it many times before, but if it's one track I really miss in Project Cars 2, it's Sebring, without a doubt. I still have my hopes that we might see it in a future DLC. I don't think that'll happen, but you can wish, can you? It's just a great track built in an old World War II airbase, which makes it really bumpy. You have to be really cautious getting on throttle, exiting almost every turn around Sebring. So what better car to drive around here than the Nissan CTP, which is probably the hardest car in the entire simulator getting on throttle with, because it spins out in 1st, 2nd and 3rd gear. It's one of my favorite cars that I don't get to race a lot because no one else races it. But going through a pretty tricky section here at the start of Sebring here, as we'll come down to... I almost lost the car there, going through Big Bend. Coming down the straight here, which is a really good overtaking spot around Sebring. Just before the hairpin here, you'll place the car on the inside here and try and outbrake him. There are a lot of overtaking spots around Sebring. This is another one, to be honest. I've overtaken guys here as well. It's just one of the many reasons why Sebring is so popular, why it's such a great track, because you can actually overtake people on a lot of different places around this track. Not gonna lie, I'm not that good on the names of the corners on Sebring here. I think this might be Tower coming through here. Real tricky, hard right-hander. You have to be really gentle on the throttle on the exit there, especially in this car. Going through Bishop here. So we're coming through the last two turns before the long straightaway, or the long straight, the Ullman straight that we're about to enter here. So obviously getting a good exit here is really important. This will be the main overtaking spot around Sebring. Either you overtake them here on the straight, or you outbrake them here going on into Sunset Bend here, which is a really weird corner. Probably the most famous corner on Sebring here, the Sunset Bend. But yeah, that was a lap around Sebring, the 4th place finisher on my top 5 list here. One of the most awesome tracks in the world, Spa-Francorchamps. Another track that I had a real hard time placing, but I think I nailed it down to a 3rd place here. It's just an awesome track, one of my favorite tracks to watch Formula 1. I'm going there this summer in August to watch Formula 1. It's going to be a blast. This is just an awesome track. So we're back in the Lotus 98T for a lap around Spa here. Going through the chicane here, as we're about to cross the start-finish line here. The start-finish line can either be here or further down to the right here. As we go through Lasst here, the right-hander here. Really important once again, getting a good exit. And in a little bit here, you'll see the most iconic, most awesome corner in the world, which is Arouge. Going through Arouge here, coming up to Radion. And then we'll have the Camel Straight here, which is the main overtaking opportunity you'll have here around Spa-Francorchamps. Going into... Cut myself, I don't know what I'm doing. Going into the Les Combs chicane here, or whatever you want to call it. This is the main overtaking spot around Spa here. I love this part of Spa here in this car. It's just a blast. You'll need to go on the brakes a lot earlier than you would think here, going downhill. I don't know how many times I missed the braking zone for, I don't know if it's Bruxelles, coming into No Name corner here, the left-hander here. Getting hard on the throttle again here for the steep downhill, going into Puhan here, where you'll probably need to brake a lot earlier than you would think as well. Kind of used to cars understeering going through here, not so much in this Lotus 98T here. That is really quick, by the way. But Spa is just an awesome track. It's probably one of the most famous tracks there is. A lot of guys have lost their lives around here as well, which makes this, adds to the mysteria of Spa, I guess. The games don't really replicate the woods that surrounded the Ardennes forest that surrounds Spa, but if you see it in real life, or not in real life, but on TV, it just looks awesome, and I can't wait until I get there in August. I heard the infrastructure around the Spa area is really bad, so you should allow at least a couple of hours to get to the track and then get home. But yeah, that was the lap around Spa-Francorchamps. Awesome track, awesome track. By now I think some of you guys know which track is number 1 on my list. The Nordschleife is number 2 on my list, and it could have taken first here, but it's not a good racing track. It's not a good track to race on. You won't see any wheel-to-wheel action, or you will, but someone will end up in the fence. But it is probably the most fun track to just take a car, have an awesome time. It's just a blast to drive around here. It's bar none the most fun track there is to drive around, in my opinion. But it's not, like I said, it's not the best racetrack, which maybe the track in first isn't either. But yeah, we won't take a full lap around the Nordschleife here because it takes too long. But yeah, the Nordschleife is second on my list here, so yeah, let's move on to first. As it shouldn't come as a surprise for those of you who watch me regularly, who know I love this track, but I can really see why a lot of you don't agree with me here. when you have tracks like Silverstone, you had Spa, which I had third here on my list, but there are a lot of great tracks, and I choose Mazda Raceway. But it's just me, this is my list, and I love this track. There's just something special for me in this track. I know I played it ever since I was a kid. I played it on Gran Turismo, I think it was 1, and it was the real first track that I actually knew well and knew how to drive and where to apex the corners when I was a small kid. It's just an awesome track. I've been here in real life as well. It's a great venue. If you sit up, let's see, it's right in front of us here, up at the corkscrew, you can almost see the entire track. They had cold beers up there, had a sunny day, just the most amazing experience. I absolutely loved my day here. And it's a great area. Monterey is a beautiful area as well. Can't wait until I get back here. But it's just an awesome track. Maybe not the best racetrack though. And that's why it maybe should not be first on my list here. Because there are no really good overtaking opportunities here. The straight I passed here is the Rahal straight that comes before the corkscrew here. That's one overtaking opportunity, but it's not good. You don't really want to try and outbrake somebody into the corkscrew. The other overtaking opportunity comes at the start-finish line here, but yeah, it's just a really fun track. This car is probably way too fast. It's better with the slower cars. But yeah, that's my number 1. And that was the lap around Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, who is soon to be named WeatherTech Raceway, by the way. But please let me know which tracks are your favorites. I can kind of assume a lot of you guys first would be Spa. I know Silverstone will probably high as well. Please let me know in the comment section below which tracks are your favorites. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thank you for watching. Bye.